Hey folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use he and pronouns, and my hair is definitely getting longer. Um, but we're in lockdown at the moment, so I live in Victoria, Australia, and we are in day one of our 7-day snap lockdown because of the number of COVID cases that have sort of emerged. So we're in lockdown for 7 days, and we only have 5 reasons to leave home, and hairdressing is not one of them. They close all the hairdressers. So hopefully, when this snap lockdown ends, I can go get a haircut because I don't want to leave it too long, where I just like end up looking like a gorilla. Anyway, um, yeah, today I wanted to talk about social connections and vulnerability and the power of comforting words. Sort of off topic, but for those of you who haven't been following my videos, so something happened, and then my nervous system was really set off, and I felt physically sick, and everything was just completely out of balance. And it's been a few days since I said goodbye to the person permanently, and my nervous system, I noticed, is a lot better, as in I'm not always on edge and feeling tense and carrying tension in my body. I also noticed that my emotional fuel tank has started like refilling. That's how I'm actually making this video, because when I'm in a bad not a bad I'm not so good headspace and I feel physically sick, I can't really bring myself up bring myself to film YouTube videos like this. So it's been a few days, and I've had a few days of recovery and healing, and I'm definitely doing better, which is really good. And I'm smiling a lot more, so that's really good too. And that also links in with social connections, which I'm going to be talking about. So I listened to a podcast episode, and in the episode they were talking about how we need strong, healthy social bonds with other humans to survive and basically function at our ultimate level, and like have achieve our optimal level of well-being. And they talked about three types of connections we all need. One is like intimate connections, as in we have very close bonds with people. Intimate as in we can confide with them, we can talk about the difficult issues. Just having a very close intimate bond with someone, that's the first thing. And then there's also social relations, which is like you have friends to hang out, people to hang out with, have lunch with, hang out in like social in a social context. And then there's also the collective relations. I don't know if it's relations, I forgot the word they use, but like feeling connected to the broader community. And I guess for me it's like connected to something bigger than myself. And like they were saying how we need all three of these to function and be at our best. And something I noticed, I didn't know in the when I like a few months ago, was that I needed threes to achieve these three domains of social connectedness to actually feel balanced in my life. Um, and they were also talking about how if we have, say, for example, we have the best therapist in the world, we have the best relationship with our therapist, but we only see our therapist once a week, and we don't have any other sort of connections with other people, that's not enough. Like, that's not enough to, I guess, keep us going. I think of having social relations and sustaining them and all that as a must in my life. Basically, it's like eating, sleeping, using the bathroom. It's a necessary part of my life in order for me to function at my best and achieve like optimal well-being. So a few months ago, before I started learning about this sort of thing to on a deeper level, um I couldn't pinpoint exactly why. I just felt like there was something missing in my life. I was thinking, I have a loving family. I have a loving chosen family. We're all good. Um, But what I failed to realize is that I was lacking third um that third thing, which is like, I guess, connectedness to a bigger community outside of my inner circle, and that was something I lacked. And I've noticed that ever since I found a job and started working and started making friends with coworkers and having that social connectedness, like outside of my inner circle with inner chosen family, I'm feeling a lot more balanced. And that was one of the missing pieces in my life. um oh yeah, in the podcast they're also saying that, like, just because we have healthy connections to some people and we still feel lonely, or we still feel like there's something missing in our life like that, it doesn't mean that our healthy relations are deficient in any way. It's like, I sort of have a food analogy to say, like, if we just eat carbohydrates and we don't eat anything with proteins or the other nutrients and required minerals, it doesn't mean that our the food that contains carbohydrate is um deficient in some way. It's just that we're missing the protein and other elements. It doesn't mean that the carbohydrate is not good. It's just like it's not enough in of itself to fuel our body and give it our body what it needs to grow and repair things. And given that me and every other person living in Victoria is currently in lockdown again, I think social connections is more important than ever, because if we just decide to go through this alone, if I decided to just go through this alone and not talk to my friends, which is a logical reason, but in theory, I guess just a hypothetical situation. If I was in lockdown, I only had my blood family and I had no contact with any of my friends or chosen family, I would just completely crash and burn, because what I'm getting from my blood family is not enough to keep me healthy. I need more than that. Plus, they don't. It's not the same. Like, I get different things from my chosen family compared to my blood family. Um, the confiding with very or like talking to my chosen family about very intimate and very personal issues is something I don't really do with my blood family. So that's something I'm lacking, and that's why I need my chosen family as well. Otherwise, I'm just screwed. And elaborating on like trauma wounds, um, I mentioned in previous videos, if you watched it, that being in healthy connections and relationships helps me heal. And the reason, I guess, the how that works is that, so I've been traumatized and severely wounded by the incident that happened. Basically, I don't want to say it, but I was hurt. Someone hurt me. Is the short answer. And in my head, I'm still wounded, and there's just like my brain is just sort of associated anxiety, distress, unease, discomfort with that whole situation. And being in healthy connections helps me heal because it helps rewire my brain into, I guess, build repair it or build different neural pathways or rewire it in some way. I don't know the neurobiology of it, but if having contact with close friends and healthy social relations helps rewire my brain and reset my nervous system after what happened had seriously dysregulated my nervous system. And something else I want to talk about is vulnerability, and how it links to social connections and building deeper relations with people. So yesterday I wrote a little email about you are not alone, and how this lockdown again is sort of can throw off our normal routine. And I was saying how it's okay to feel all of these different emotions that you may be feeling. It's very human, and it's okay to be vulnerable. And I wrote an email like that, and I sent it to my work colleagues. And And I actually got a lot of um replies back saying thank you and whatnot, and how my words brought them comfort, and it's nice knowing that they're not the only one feeling this way. um and I've noticed that, me being vulnerable, not just with this email but in general, it really lowers people's walls, because they probably think it's this person's vulnerable to me, so it's okay for me to lower my walls because they are showing me that they can lower their walls as well. If someone's vulnerable with me, I think you're comfortable with lowering your walls and being completely raw and honest with me. um to me, that tells me that the person is safe, and that they're not gonna judge me because they have shown vulnerability and put an emotional risk out there. Because when people vulnerable, when I'm vulnerable, I don't know how people are gonna take it, and it is an emotional risk. um because I don't know what's gonna happen, and I could get hurt, I could possibly get hurt, and I don't know the what's gonna happen in the future. I guess when I am vulnerable, I basically tell people it's okay to be human, and you don't have to suppress your feelings, thoughts, experiences just because other people might think it's unacceptable or taboo, or not the normal way of not the normal way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Yeah, it's just, I think it's important that it's people can be human and not be shamed for experiencing very human things and things that are part of being human. It really frustrates me how there's so much shame attached to being vulnerable, shame and guilt, and this negative stereotypes and misconceptions about being vulnerable, and like how it's means you're weak and stuff. Like, I don't know where that came from, but I do know that we can't just keep trying to do everything on our own. um and it also links back to social connections. Like, if we're vulnerable and reach out for help, it's perceived as, oh, you're weak, you can't deal with it by yourself. And it's weird because we're not meant to live in isolation. Like, humans are social creatures. We need social contacts, we need social connections, we need to have healthy relationships with others in order to be healthy, basically, and live with optimal well-being. Yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable, and like, it doesn't mean you're less than human. Something I do in all of my close friendships and for people I care about a lot is that I usually repeatedly check up on them. Not like excessively, like every day, be like, how are you doing? Within reason, I quite frequently check up on my friends because I know that not everyone will feel comfortable reaching out first, because there's a lot of reasons. People might not feel comfortable reaching out first, and they might be going through things in silence. And I don't want the people I care about most to feel like they can't reach out for support. So I usually check up on them a lot, even especially now during lockdown. I'm going to either message my friends and be like, "How you doing with COVID lockdowns?" Or I will just call them and talk to them. "How you doing during COVID lockdowns? How you feeling? How's your body? As in, like, is it tense?" Or I like just basically giving the people I care about most space to vent if they need to, or just share things that may be bothering them, or just to get out their thoughts. Even like, I'm not doing okay, even saying that, getting it out can be helpful. So, if I definitely encourage you to reach out to the people you care about most. It doesn't have to be during lockdown. I do it in general anyway, but I think it's particularly more important during lockdown because we're not going out and seeing each other in person, and it's easier to be isolated when we're just stuck in our homes 24/7. And today I actually called one of my friends, and it's funny because she said I was literally just thinking about you, and then I called her, and it was like great timing, but like we didn't plan this, like it just happened. It's like, oh, you I was just thinking of you, and then you just called me, and I was like, psychic, telepathy, something, I don't know, but sometimes things just fall into place like that. The power of the universe or something, and I'm just like, how does how like what is this coincidence much like. Yeah, it's very interesting. um, uh, the other day I was talking to one of my other friends, and while she was describing what she'd gone through and her experiences with certain things, I noticed a lot of shame in the way she talked about herself. Um, and if you didn't see my other video, Brene Brown differentiates shame and guilt when using the following example, which is stuck in my mind. I really love Brene Brown's example. So shame is I am bad, guilt is I did something bad. Shame is focused on the self and who we are as a person. Guilt is focused on our behavior and actions, not like who we are as a person at the core. And my voice is cracking a little bit, but that's okay. Second puberty, you know. Anyway, back on topic. I noticed a lot of shame in my friend's words, and then after our call I just messaged her and said, you know, it's okay to feel this way, and it doesn't make you less than human, and you may have responded differently to this situation than to me, or compared to me, or compared to other people, because you know you've experienced different things in life, and all of our nervous systems and traumas affect us in different ways. And I was just trying to remind her that like it's okay to feel that way, it doesn't make you less than human, and stuff like that. And that's where the, I guess, words of comfort come in, because even validation of someone's experiences without judgment is very powerful, and it's definitely something we lack in general in society. Like we tend to attack each other, belittle each other, be very hostile to each other without truly understanding what's going on and truly understanding what actually happened to us in our lives that actually led us to this, like this certain point in our lives. Like what happened to us really shapes us, and especially if we're young, what happens to us really shapes us mentally and neurobiologically as well. And I think instead of attacking each other, we need to start being open and listening without shutting listening without shutting each other down. And yeah, one of the reasons why I sent that email out to my work colleagues, I'll actually link what I wrote down below. It's like might be a little long, but then if you interested in reading it, it's in the description box. That email sent out about COVID and vulnerability. I also think words of comfort and encouragement are important, because it can give people something to hold on to. If you didn't see my other video, when I was having the rough time where my emotional fuel tank was literally completely nearly empty, and I was running on a nearly empty tank, I called Karina, and she really gave me some um petrol, you could say, to keep going on my journey. And just like words of encouragement and just being there to listen to me vent, it really made a significant difference. And something else that's I think is really important is that it's to acknowledge how we feel and not put ourselves down for feeling a certain way. Um just just being nice to ourselves, being kind to ourselves, and be like, this is how I'm feeling. It's okay to feel this way. This is what I do now. It's like if I feel a difficult emotion, I think it's okay to feel this way. It is part of the human experience. Um, you aren't less than human for feeling this way. You aren't someone to be ashamed of for feeling this way. Um, it makes sense that you may be feeling this way because XYZ happened to you. Just self validation as well of self validation of experiences, and just acknowledging the feelings we have rather than trying to suppress it is also a very powerful thing. In the end, we need to look after each other because we can't go through certain experiences alone, let alone life alone. We need each other, and we need to build strong, healthy, wholesome connections with one another. Um, Random thought, but like I listened to another podcast episode, and there was this one line that really stuck with me, is that relationship is the foundation of discourse. Was it discourse? Oh no, the quote was relationship is the foundation of dialogue. If we don't have a bond with each other, or we don't connect with each other, or have anything between each other, then we're not gonna listen to one another, and we're more likely to, I guess, antagonize, be hostile or antagonistic rather than being an ally and understanding. So relationship is the foundation of dialogue. And yeah, back to the point. My point, we have to look after each other and support each other because no one deserves to um go through things alone. And yeah, we have come a long way in terms of evolution, and I believe we can do better than attack each other all the time. Um, Stay connected, stay safe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.